Hi, this is Nick Sixeleth from the Customs Creators Collective. This video will help you learn to chart vocals for RB3 like a pro. To follow along with this video, you'll need Kakos Reaper, the RBN plugins, our custom RB3 template. Visit our authoring tools forum to get any of these. We'll start by creating a new project using the Reaper custom RB3 template. Next, load your music into the TRKS track. Make sure your cursor is at time 0. Press the home key to be sure. Now a quick note about tempo mapping. The tempo map aligns the MIDI notes with your music. Tempo mapping is the foundation of your custom. Without a good tempo map, your notes won't appear at the right places in game, and it won't feel like you're playing the song. You can see the tempo map in the master track at the top of the screen. The blue line shows the current beats per minute. Let's get more room to work with on the screen by hiding the mixer window. Next, make sure your master track and TRKS is large so that you can get a bigger view of the audio waveform. Shrink the track information to get a little more room left to right. Zoom in with the timescale so a little more than one measure of the song fills the screen. Next, solo the TRKS track so you won't hear any other sounds. Slide the track to line up the first beat with measure 3. Make sure snap is disabled so you can move the track in small increments. In this song, it's easy to spot the first beat. The custom template defaults to 120 beats per minute. We'll need to adjust that to fit your song exactly. It also defaults to a 4/4 time signature. Changing time signatures will be in a more advanced tutorial. I like to drop a marker every measure. I find it more forgiving if you made a mistake and you need to tweak things later. Let's go back to the beginning of the song by pressing home. Now drop a marker at measure 2 and measure 3. Click the cursor at those locations and press Q. And the second one should line up with your first beat of the song. Now for the tricky part. We've marked the first two measures as being about 120 beats per minute. Let's find out what the song's actual BPM is by counting off the first 4 beats and looking at the audio waveform to drop a marker at the start of the next measure. One, 2, 3, 4, 1. So we need it right about here. And I'm going to press Q. That shows me the actual BPM of the song is 111.235 BPM. Let's go back and manually set the BPM of the count-in to match that. Press the home key to go to the beginning. Right-click on the first measure marker, set point value 111.235. Let's do the same for the second marker. Now you can see, because that's shifted, the song needs to shift to match. I'm going to drag it so that that first point lines up with the third marker. And because we had set the BPM correctly, the fourth marker should automatically be in the right place. Next, go measure by measure through the rest of the song. Each time you find a new measure, press Q.
Pretty little angel. Pretty little angel eyes. Pretty little angel. Pretty little angel eyes. Pretty little angel eyes. Pretty little angel, pretty little angel, pretty little pretty. Pretty little angel, pretty little angel, pretty little, pretty little, pretty little angel. Give up. Angel, give up. Angel, pretty little angel, pretty little, pretty little, pretty little angel. Give up, give up, give up, give up. Give up, give up, give up, give up. Give up. Give up.
I won't go through the entire song in this tutorial. Usually takes about 20 minutes to do a full song. Remember to save your work every couple minutes so you don't lose too much if something goes wrong. After I finish the tempo map, I usually go to the start of the song and fix up the count-in so it occurs on the right beats. The count-in can be a sample of a hi-hat, a snare stick, something taken from the song, whatever you feel like. I'm going to solo the count-in track here and turn snap back on, and then move each of the hits to the start of a beat. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's make sure it sounds okay. Once the song is fully tempo mapped, we can work on the chart. The focus of this video is on vocals, so let's find the first measure that has some.
Pretty little angel eyes.
The next step is to open the MIDI editor on the part vocals track. I'll highlight the part vocals track, press Ctrl-Alt-E to bring up the MIDI editor, and now dock the window at the bottom of Reaper's screen. We can make the TRKS track a little smaller and the master track a little smaller, and make the MIDI editor a little larger so we can see more of the notes at once. The most important tool for charting vocals is Reaper's scrub tool, which lets you hear a small loop of the section of audio at the cursor. Tragically, it isn't even mentioned in the RBN documentation. To enable scrubbing, select Options, Preferences, Audio, Playback. Configure your Reaper to match the settings here. To use scrub, hold down the mouse cursor in the audio window and drag the cursor back and forth. Vocals should be charted in 1/64th note intervals. In the MIDI editor, make sure your grid is enabled. Set the grid to 1/64th. Zoom in until you can see 1/64th note divisions, 16 per quarter note. Use the scrub tool to help you find the beginning and end of each syllable. Use a chromatic tuner to help you determine the pitch of each syllable. I use the Korg CA30, it's about $20. Generally, each syllable should be at least 2/64ths long, and there should be 2/64ths between syllables.
Pretty little angel eyes.
Note that here I cut off the syllable eyes a little early because the singer's trailing off to an indistinct pitch. Charting syllables takes some practice. The basic rules are: chop off high-frequency sounds like F, S, T, J, etc. Make an exception for songs like f-f-f-foolin'. Cut off consonants at the ends of word like n. Try to keep just the parts where the singer's mouth is open, but you should chart drawn-out syllables. The next step is to attach lyrics to the notes. Find the lyrics to your song and put them into a text file. Next, use the hyphenator website to hyphenate your lyrics into syllables. I'll copy all the text, load up the hyphenator website, and paste your text into the field. Then click Hyphenate. Now I'll select all that text with Ctrl-A, Ctrl-C to copy it, back into Notepad, and paste. Now we need to replace all the dashes with dash space to separate the syllables. Now we can save that text file. Next, switch back to Reaper. Press Ctrl-A in the MIDI editor to select all your lyrics. Then press Shift-L. Again, this is assuming that you have the RBN tools installed in Reaper. Locate your text file with the lyrics and open it. And you can see that Reaper has added a text event, a lyric event actually, for every syllable in the song. Here's a section that includes vocal slides. Slides can be tricky, but Scrub makes it pretty easy. You can see the pitches changing in this segment. The general rule for slides is that there should be at least a 2/64th gap. If it's a larger interval, it should be a 3/64th gap. Usually for a single semitone, this tempo is a little slow, so normally this gap would be 3/64ths. And 3/64ths for a larger gap. I'll add the lyrics manually here since I haven't done the rest of the song. Sometimes you end up doing this for harmonies. Need to click in the text event spot at the bottom. That's part of the slide. That's part of the slide. That's part of the slide. But if we listen to the lyrics again, I'm going to make that a separate who. It's not part of the slide. After you've placed all your syllables, you should go back and define phrase markers and overdrive markers. The phrase marker has to begin with the first syllable. I'll usually begin at one before. And it should end on either an eighth note here or quarter note. Something to do with animations syncing up and looking nicer in the game. Every fifth phrase should be an overdrive phrase. You can tweak that a little more or less if you want to make it harder or easier to gold star. That's the end of this first vocal tutorial. Please visit us on the web at customscreators.com for any authoring questions or to get great new custom songs every Friday.